Are you crippling your bar's chances of success by saving money on the wrong things? Welcome to the BartenderHQ.com podcast with me, your host David Eden-Sangwell. As usual, we are back. We are talking about all the big stuff in the world of bars this week. And we will be starting off with our roundup of the news from the week. However, first of all, I just want to mention this week we are going to be talking. We're going to kind of follow up my rant from last week about understanding what the job of the bartender is, and now we're going to shift the attention over to management, where management quite often make huge mistakes that really make it hard for a bartender to make the money for that business. The latest industry news from Bartender HQ. So, in terms of industry news this week, the big story that's kind of hit my attention, and this is quite an interesting one actually. Bacardi-owned Bombay Sapphire is working with leading bars in the UK, the Duck and Waffle, Mr Fogg's House Botanicals, Scout, Panda and Sons up in Edinburgh, Manchester's Tariff and Dale, and they're creating a number of different serves using edible paint within the serves. So the first one that being released is blue. It looks exactly like the kind of blue of the Bombay Sapphire bottle. You paint this onto the inside of the glass and it releases flavours over the course of your drink slowly. I guess it becomes more infused, becomes slightly coloured into the drink, and it's designed to reflect and complement the botanicals in Bombay Sapphire itself. Cool idea, interesting. It's quite visual, which I really like. Your guests will see it as they walk around the bar. They'll be asking what it is. They'll all want to try it. So I think it's a really cool idea. Bombay Sapphire is, I'll be honest, not my favourite gin, mainly because it's quite light in flavour. The reason for that is actually because when Bombay Sapphire was coming to prominence back in the day, vodka was the spirit. I mean, it's still a huge seller. But in the UK, without Bombay Sapphire, we wouldn't have got to the kind of gin renaissance, of gin-essence that we have now. But having that really light flavour that Bombay Sapphire has kind of bridged the gap between your grandma's gin that had been around forever and the kind of the new wave of vodka spirits, and kind of, it was almost like a lightly gin-flavoured vodka, if you like. It's still super popular, it's really easy to drink. For exactly that reason, it doesn't slap you in the face with juniper, but it's, as I say, it's not my favourite gin for exactly that reason, but I understand why a lot of people love it. But it's interesting that they're kind of adding to those botanical flavours using this paint. So check out, I will pop the image into the show notes, you can check out what it looks like, and apparently they've got other colours coming in the coming months, so goodness knows what we're going to have. Maybe we'll have rainbow drinks as well. As with the last week, we'll just run through a few of the other headlines that have caught my eye. Havana Club has launched a professional range for bartenders. Lidl has launched a unicorn-inspired equine gin. Don't know what that means. Bowmore, this is interesting. Bowmore has released an Amazon-exclusive whiskey. Let's just drop into that one quickly and see exactly what that's all about. So this is a limited edition whiskey that has been aged for 19 years in first fill ex-Chateau Lagrange French oak barriques. I'm sure that's a name for a barrel of some size. I don't know if that's smaller or bigger. So it's an Islay single malt, so it's going to be kind of smoky, a little bit of smokiness. And yeah, I just think it's really interesting that Amazon is getting so big now, not just in the world of books where they started, but going into specialist spirits and having exclusive whiskies that have been blended specifically for them. I think that's really interesting. This is a single malt, 19-year-old. That's pretty special. This was obviously not laid down specifically for Amazon, but they've decided that that's going to be their route for it. So interesting. I guess if you want it for your bar, you're going to have to hit up Amazon. What have I been up to this week? So I've been back at TGI Fridays, done a couple of shifts. I will be doing a shift as this goes live. So I'll be back behind the wood. Really been enjoying it. It's great fun being back behind the bar. And that's actually kind of what's inspired a lot of what I've been talking about just recently. Look out, there have been quite a few flare clips I've been putting up as well of myself on the Instagram, so check that out. I've got some kind of craft flare stuff that I'm trying to get better at. I don't really want to go too heavy into the exhibition stuff. My competition stuff is coming along. My shoulder is finally getting a little bit looser, so I will be doing a lot more practice in the next week or so. I will not be entering the Manchester competition that I was hoping to. I will still be going, so if you're going along, please do come and say hello. I will be popping down to say hello to everyone and film some routines and share some of that video with you guys. However, I won't be entering because my shoulder injury has, which I still don't quite know how I did it, that has really stopped me from being able to practice in the way that I wanted to. I don't want to go and embarrass myself. As I said with the last one, and then I did quite well, but I really haven't had any chance to practice this time. So the next competition will be the beginning of December, I believe. It's going to be the next round of the Midlands Flair Open back in Coventry. Look out for that. Yes. The main course. So our main event for this week, guys, I am talking about cost cutting in bars, how it's done well, and where people go wrong, as far as I can see. Now, I could be completely wrong on this one as well. It's not gonna be as ranty as the last video, the last podcast that we put out. However, when bars start to struggle, the management, the owners, will often try and look for ways that they can cut costs, whether that be in terms of product, in terms of service, in terms of glassware, labour, add-ons that you get with things. So I just wanted to kind of touch on a few of these little points and see if you guys actually agree with me or not. I've always been of the mindset, and I've spoken about this a little bit in the past when I was talking about managers trying to save pennies here and there in terms of trying to get, for example, if you can get your house vodka 20p a bottle cheaper, 20 cents, 25 cents a bottle cheaper, and you're going through like 6 cases, then you're going to save $1.50 a case, so you're going to save like $9-10 on your bottom line. Okay, cool, that's cool if you can do that, and it doesn't take you very long. However, if you're going to spend more than, I don't know, 5 minutes on that time could much better be spent doing something else. It could be much better spent doing a Facebook advert, or just putting a video of one of your bartenders making a drink online, or just generally posting to social media, Instagram, whatever. There's a million and one things that you could do. You know, going in and setting up an event on Eventbrite or another bookings service that you can use to bring people into your bar, getting a flyer design done. Something like that. Yes, great work, you found another supplier, but if you're spending a couple of hours on it, you're not spending your time effectively to save yourself like that £10, $10. I find that managers will also, and this is not just managers within venues, this is sometimes the whole company, and especially I found with chains, they set kind of unrealistically low budgets for certain things, and it quite often will affect things like glassware. It'll affect things like labour. Here's an example. If you have a nightclub where part of the appeal of that club is a party venue, and you've got bartenders and you've got staff who really get involved with the songs as they come on. You know, we're talking cheesy, but these are the kind of bars where people will get up on the bar top. Your bartenders will be kind of leading dancers, and really kind of driving the atmosphere of the club. Now, you could take half of those staff out, and you will be physically capable of taking the same amount of money, because only half of your staff are actually behind the bar making drinks and taking money. That seems like a really simple thing when you're looking just at numbers. However, if it massively affects the reason that people are coming into your venue, for example, they're coming in for the entertainment, they're coming in for the atmosphere, they're coming in to dance, let their hair down and not worry about how they look, because everyone else in the venue is doing these silly dances, or, you know, these extra staff could be out flyering, they could be out pulling people into the venue. If you cut all of that out, yes, your bartenders that are behind the bar are still going to take the same amount of money the first week, and then it's going to drop down a bit because people aren't going to come back because it wasn't as good last week. They didn't have as good of a time. And over time, those people that have been coming for years and years, because of the atmosphere that you create, you've just taken that atmosphere away, so why would they come back? They're going to find a new bar where someone else is going to do it. That is going to massively affect your bottom line far more than the extra hours that you had people there that weren't physically taking money out of people's pockets. Now, I know last week when we did the big ram, my point all the way through was that The staff are there to take money from people, to take money out of people's pockets to exchange for the drinks that we serve. That is absolutely the case. But I also said that the other things that we do in our businesses are the tools that allow us to take that money. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about these people generating direct income. What you're doing is you're putting the people out there with the big personalities, the people that are without any sort of inhibitions, the ones that really love to entertain and to get involved with your guests. Because if you're in a high-end nightclub, a high-volume bar, you need your fast bartenders making drinks, you need your big personalities out there interacting with people, whether they work as a host, whether they work as floor sellers, whatever. This is what I'm trying to get at, and there's other places that these savings try to be made, which also will massively impact negatively the way that the business runs. So the next one that I'd got on my list, and this is one of the ones that sort of brought me to wanting to talk about this, is glassware. If you want to do a menu that's got really exciting glassware, you've got tiki mugs, you've got glass skulls, you've got whatever you want to put your drinks in. If you want to put them in coconuts, if you want to put them in something that's different, bear in mind a lot of those glasses, those drinking vessels, those Moscow Mule mugs, whatever it is, they're going to get stolen, or if they're glass, they're going to get broken. Anything that's interesting and different, people that walk into your venue will assume that they own it once they've bought a drink in it, even if that's obviously not the case. And we know that these people don't actually think that they're allowed to take them home, but they're going to sneak them out. A tiki mug's really cool, isn't it? Like, everyone wants one of those in their house. I've got one on my shelf over there. I was given it. I didn't steal it from a venue. I didn't steal it. Stop looking at me like that. What I'm saying is all of these interesting, exciting reasons for your guests to walk through the door and be engaged once they're there are also things that you're going to have to maintain. That's fine if you want a big feature of your venue to be the interesting serves and the interesting glassware and drinking vessels that you serve your drinks in. Bear in mind you're going to have to keep buying them. And if you let it get down to the point where you've got 3 or 4 of a certain one in the venue, you're either going to get to the point where your bartenders stop serving them in the right vessels because they're not going to spend the time to run around the venue and find them, in which case your kind of USP has disappeared, or your bartenders are going to spend time running around the venue trying to find them, and during that time they're not looking after your guests, they're not serving drinks, they're not making money for you. Think through how much you're saving by not ordering another case of those glasses, those tiki mugs, whatever it is, and how much you lose every time your bartender has to run outside the bar, run out to the back, try and find some more glassware to actually sell the drinks that you're trying to sell. That is your entire purpose for being open, is you're selling drinks to your guests. I think we've been through this last week. Say it's $4 for one of these things and it's a $9 drink. Even if it gets stolen on the first or second use, you've already made the money back for it because your pour cost is going to be between 20 and 25% of the actual drink price. Yes, you've got your labour to take into account, yes, you've got your bills, but you're not losing money on it and you're giving a good experience. And even if your guest takes it home, it's going to be a reminder of the venue. Now, I remember when I first went to TGI Fridays, we had little salt and pepper pots that were TGI Fridays branded, and you lost quite a lot of them, and we replaced them every time. And we didn't just go out to the dollar store down the road and buy the cheap glass ones. Instead, we put those ones back because the people if they're taking them home, if it's not just got broken, which some of it will have just got broken, you're then putting your logo into their home and reminding them of the good times that they've had at your venue, hopefully, as long as they're having good times at your venue. That's an important thing. So if you're going to have this kind of thing out there, make sure that you're giving them a good time, so that if they do happen to steal it, or it happens to fall in someone's bag, or it ends up on eBay, or whatever, it's going to remind them of a good time that they've had at your venue. And that way, you're actually going to get more repeat custom potentially from those guests. They're not going to nick another one. They're not going to nick it again next time. If they come back because they took one last time and it was really cool and it reminded them, and so they were like, oh, you know what, we'll book another table, then you're winning. Don't worry about it. The other option is you go with standardised cheapish glassware. You make sure that you've got loads of it on your bar. I kind of like generic Collins glasses and highballs and old-fashioned glasses and a basic coupe glass and a wine glass. and you can work with that. You cover every drink. If you're not serving your drinks in something wildly inappropriate, that's absolutely fine. It's great to have a wow factor on a couple of signature drinks. But let's make sure that you've got not just one drink that goes in your tiki mug that you're buying in. Let's make sure you've got 3 or 4 that go in a range of tiki mugs that all are the same size, but they look interesting and varied maybe. Do you see where I'm coming from here? Like, let's not just have the one drink that goes in the one glass, because then if you've got 5 drinks that go in their own specific glassware that nothing else uses, then you've now got 5 areas of your bar that have to be stocked up with specific glasses for a specific drink that you can't put glasses in that you can use for a bunch of drinks, and your bar's going to get cluttered, and you then are going to run out of your regular glasses, and it's a horrible mess. Does this make sense to people? Cool. This is also why I've always said don't create a drink for your menu that has a cocktail ingredient in it that doesn't go in anything else. Everything that you have behind your bar should be multiple purpose. It should be used in at least 2 or 3 drinks, because otherwise if you buy stuff in specifically for one drink, that drink ends up being really unpopular, then you're stuck with dead stock sitting on your shelves. I also find things like purees. Now this is something that I wanted to mention because I'm now doing a little bit of work with ODK, certainly in Birmingham and out and about. This is ODK stuff right here. So it's fruit purees, it's gluten-free, and the best thing about it is A, it tastes really, really good, it tastes like it's supposed to, and B, these are all open, and they've been open for like a week, 2 weeks, and I've still got another 2.5 months before I have to have used them up, because they're shelf stable for like 3 months at room temperature, which is astonishing, and it means that you can actually add like a bit of a library of flavours to your say if you do flavoured mojitos or you do stuff like that. Bellinis is one of the ones that's come up a lot, so with the peach, things like the peach and the strawberry for Bellinis, but if you want to have some really funky flavours, you can kind of use these, and you'd have to get through it all, so it's really cool for nightclubs that do a few cocktails. So yeah, I just think this sort of thing is really cool, but also like sustainability wise, it's great to say we don't want artificial stuff, but you also don't want to be throwing away a bunch of fresh fruit that's been flown around the world because you've had it open for a day. Just what I think. These little cost cuts, yeah, don't try and skimp on labour. Also, the other thing with labour, and now I meant to mention this earlier, if you start cutting the odd hour here and there from different shifts, you start making them shorter, say your bartender comes in half an hour before you open to set the bar up, and then you haven't got an overlap anymore. So you used to have like daytime bartender in for an hour when the nighttime bartender came in, so they can make sure that everything's fully set, and if the nighttime bartender needs anything making, mixers or fruit prepping or mise en place, you would have that crossover. Now, you can sort of look at your rotor and go, oh, well, we've got another bartender in at that point, so as long as everything's pretty good, that's fine. Yeah, it is, and you can probably run the business that way. However, that bartender in the daytime is now, he's had his shift cut short at the beginning and at the end, and now he's doing like a 5-hour shift, which isn't really a shift. Are you getting out of bed for that? Would you get out of bed for minimum wage for 5 hours? I don't know. Like, a double shift is well worth it, or an 8-hour shift, the same as someone in an office would be doing, is a reasonable amount of time to be up and about and doing your shift. But if you're, say you're travelling for 45 minutes to an hour either end of your shift, you then, it's like nearly 50% of the length of your shift is added on again for travel. And just by shaving these little things off, maybe you're going to get bartenders that go, you know what, I'm gonna go somewhere else, and then you've got to retrain, and then that's more cost, and then you've got to find that bartender first before you can retrain them. You've got to find someone that you can bring in that can do the job. Do you know? Like, stop trying to penny pinch here and there, and that's where things start to go wrong. Look after your staff, and they will look after you, and you won't be retraining new people. You won't be trying to find someone that will cover your shift at the last minute. Your staff will be less likely to phone in sick because they actually respect you. Do you see what I mean? So this is my little project for today, is trying to convince you guys out there that run bars, stop trying to penny pinch. If you need cleaning equipment to sort your bar out. If they're trying to cut down the number of blue rolls and wiping rags that you have on a day-to-day basis, if they're trying to reduce everything down to the bare minimum, you are going to struggle. If you can't clean your bar properly, the health inspector comes in, your bar gets shut down, you're losing a lot more money than if you paid another $6 to have 6 massive rolls of cleaning material. You know, if you haven't got the right detergents, if you haven't got the right dishwasher detergent in your glasswash, if you haven't got the rinse aid, you're going to probably throw more drinks away because you saved $12 on having that because it should come out okay. Actually, you've got lipstick left on your drinks, so you have to remake the drink, and like once you've done 2 drinks, you've lost whatever saving that you had in mind for not buying a bottle of rinse aid. Like, all of these little things, like look after your staff. If they need good shoes that won't slip and they won't get injured so that they can still work for you, just spend the money. Your staff will really appreciate it, they won't get hurt, and you will have bartenders that come into their shifts with the right equipment, buy them a nice bottle opener, and they'll want to work for you. Am I mad? Am I completely off base? I don't think I am, but if I am, do tell me in the comments. If I'm not, and you have these problems, send this video to one of your managers. Let me take the flak. Let me be the guy that tells them you need to pay attention to these things. You need to stop cutting hours because you're going to lose your good staff. Skimping on the drinks, on the glassware order. We're really struggling to find glasses to sell your drinks in. You need to not really cut to the bone your drinks orders because it's so difficult. As soon as you run out of the right product for that cocktail, you're probably going to have to put a more expensive product in there to replace it because you're trying to keep that stock holding just so tight that you really need to be right on that edge. No, you don't, because you know you're going to sell it the next day or the next day. Don't massively overorder on super expensive stuff, by all means, but you've got to have the basics. If stuff's on your menu and you know it sells, have some in reserve. If you have a super busy night, you don't want to be there at 10 o'clock going, well, we might as well close because we haven't got anything to sell. What's the point? Send this to a manager that doesn't understand this. And I've been David Eden-Sangwell for Bartender HQ, and I'll see you on the next one.